When desire is just a dream, life stays the same. But the moment that desire becomes an obsession, something that keeps you awake, something you think about every second even when the world sleeps, destiny starts bending in your favor. Obsession gives you a kind of focus that average people can't understand. It sharpens your mind, strengthens your heart, and forces you to rise again even after failure tries to break you. When you want something so deeply that you breathe it, walk it, and live it, destiny has only one choice: to move out of your way. Because obsession is not madness. Obsession is clarity. Obsession is power. Obsession is the fire that turns ordinary people into legends. And when your desire becomes that fire, destiny surrenders. When a simple desire grows into something deeper, something louder, something that refuses to be ignored, everything in your life begins to shift. Desire is the spark, but obsession is the fire. It is the energy that wakes you up before the alarm, the force that keeps you working when everyone else has stopped, the voice that whispers again, even when you're exhausted. Obsession sharpens your vision until you see nothing but your goal. It makes every excuse disappear, every distraction meaningless, every setback small. When you reach that level of hunger, destiny can no longer resist you. It has no choice but to bow, to rearrange itself around your determination, to open doors that once seemed impossible. People may call it crazy, but the world has only ever been changed by those who were obsessed with something greater than themselves. When desire becomes obsession, you stop hoping and start becoming. You stop wishing and start creating. You stop waiting and start moving. And once you reach that state of absolute focus, destiny doesn't decide your future, you do. Because obsession turns your dream into a path, your path into progress, and your progress into destiny. When desire becomes more than a wish, it's where you learn what you're made of. It's where you build a strength. Money can't buy, people can't see, but destiny can't ignore. And when the light finally comes, you won't just step into it, you will own it, because you earned it in the hours. Nobody applauded, nobody believed, nobody stood with you. That strength, that resilience, that fire inside you, that is your true wealth. There will be times you question why the storm chose you, why the path is heavier for you than it seems for everyone else. But storms don't visit those who are weak. They come for the ones who have the potential to stand taller than the thunder. Life is not punishing you, it's preparing you, it's sharpening your mind, toughening your heart, teaching you the power of endurance. Each time you refuse to give up, even when you're tired, even when you're broken, you're building a strength no book can teach, and no mentor can hand you. Strength built in darkness is not ordinary strength. It's the kind that cannot be stolen, cannot be shaken, cannot be defeated. It's the strength that speaks silently, but roars when needed. It's the strength that turns setbacks into strategies, and pain into purpose. You may not see your growth day by day, but one morning you'll look in the mirror and meet someone you've never seen before, a fighter, a survivor, a warrior forged by nights of uncertainty, by prayers whispered through tears, by battles fought alone. And you'll smile, not because it was easy, but because you proved you were stronger than every force that tried to break you. So don't rush the process. Don't curse the darkness. Walk through it with faith. Walk through it with patience. Because darkness is not the end of light. It is the birthplace of it. And when you finally step into your moment, you will shine not because someone lit you, but because you learned how to ignite yourself. Here comes a point in every journey where the night feels endless, where dawn feels like a myth, hope feels distant, and every step forward feels heavier than the last. People may see your smile, but they will never see the storms behind it. They may admire your strength, but they will never know the battles that built it. Because the greatest transformations do not happen in comfort, they happen in the shadows nobody notices. And yet, that is where champions are shaped. In the quiet hours when the world sleeps, and you wrestle with your own thoughts. In the moments you feel forgotten, but continue anyway. In the nights you wipe your own tears, and still stand up tomorrow stronger. That is where real greatness is born. Not on stages, not in spotlights, not in the applause of crowds, but in the unseen work, in the sacrifices nobody hears about, in the failures you had to digest alone, in the courage you had to gather without reassurance. Strength built in darkness is the kind of strength that survives storms. It doesn't crumble when people doubt you. It doesn't shatter when life hits hard. It doesn't disappear when pressure rises. It becomes unbreakable. It becomes eternal. It becomes wealth, not counted in coins, but in character, resilience, discipline, soul. Because the world rewards outcomes, but God rewards effort. The world sees success, but God sees the struggle that created it. And that struggle is sacred. There will be moments where you beg for relief, where you wish the path was softer, where you question why your fire burns so intensely. But the strongest steel is forged in the hottest flames. The tallest trees grow under harsh winds, and the most powerful souls are sculpted by seasons of profound darkness. Do not resent your darkness. It is where you discover your design. It is where you learn patience. When everything is delayed, it is where you learn discipline. When motivation fades, it is where you learn faith. When nothing makes sense, and it is where you learn to rise, without waiting for a hand to pull you up. One day you will look back and realize that the weight you hated carrying was actually building your strength, that the loneliness you feared was teaching you independence, that the silence you dreaded was developing your voice. They will call you lucky when success comes, but they won't know about the nights you stayed awake, talking to God, questioning, pleading, holding on by a thread. They won't know how exhaustion felt like a prison, but you kept moving 1 inch at a time. They won't know how many times you wanted to quit, but didn't, because something inside you whispered, not yet. You were made for more. And that voice, tiny, trembling, fragile, was the voice of greatness being born inside you. Every failure strengthened your foundation. Every heartbreak sharpened your insight. Every setback hardened your resolve. You were not buried, you were planted. The darkness around you is not defeat. It is soil, protection, incubation, formation. Because seeds grow in darkness, long before they break through to light. And you, yes, you, are a seed destined to become a towering tree. A soul carved for depth, not surface. A spirit built for endurance, not convenience. So keep going. Even when progress feels invisible. Even when support is absent. Even when fear is loud. Even when your knees shake. Keep building in the dark. Because what you're building isn't ordinary. You are constructing strength. Layer by layer, scar by scar. Moment by moment of choosing courage over collapse. There will come a dawn, where everything you built silently will speak loudly for you. People will ask for your secret. They will ask how you endured. They will ask where your power comes from, and you will smile. Not out of pride, but out of understanding. Because they will never know the nights that shaped your spirit. They will never feel the battles that forged your backbone. They will never taste the loneliness that taught you self-belief. But you will know. And that knowledge that history is wealth no thief can steal, a wealthy soul does not flaunt strength, carries it quietly. It does not need recognition. It becomes recognition. It does not beg for respect. It is carved into dignity. Your wealth lies not in what you own, but in who you became when life tried to break you. So when you walk into the future, walk with your back straight. Walk with your head high. Walk like someone who faced storms and learned how to command thunder. Walk like someone who knows their worth, because you earned it in silence, in hardship, in darkness, and the world will not intimidate you, because you have stood face to face with your own demons and survived. The darkness didn't destroy you. It strengthened you, sculpted you, crowned you, and now you carry a wealth built from endurance, a strength built from struggle, a greatness born from battles unseen. This is your power. This is your wealth. This is your story. And it began in the dark. And when the light finally touches your life, it won't feel like luck. It will feel like recognition, a moment that belonged to you long before it arrived. A victory written in nights of persistence, in mornings where you rose with a tired body, but a determined spirit. Because success is not born in celebration. It is born in isolation. It is born when you choose to try again, after losing everything you thought you needed. It is born when quitting feels easier, but you refuse to accept the comfort of surrender. Most people want strength, but few are willing to face the darkness that builds it. You faced it, and you kept walking. You kept fighting decisions you didn't understand. You kept loving life even when it was unkind. You kept believing in a future your present couldn't see. And that belief, that stubborn spark, became your greatest asset. There were nights you felt unseen, but you kept working. There were days you felt unworthy, but you kept showing up. There were moments doubt filled your lungs like fire, but you still breathed through the burn. That is strength. That is strength. Not loud, not showy, but real. The kind that turns a whisper into a roar. The kind that survives storms without breaking. The kind that bends but never snaps. One day, when you step onto the other side of this journey, you will thank the darkness for forcing you to grow. You will thank the pain for revealing your power. You will thank the silence for teaching you to hear yourself. Because wisdom doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in confusion, in heartbreak, in loss, in rebuilding. Faith doesn't grow when everything makes sense. It grows when nothing does, and yet you keep walking. Courage doesn't grow in sunlight. It grows in storms, in uncertainty, in pressure that tries to crush the soul, but ends up shaping it instead. Every obstacle refined you. Every failure redirected you. Every tear watered the soil of who you were becoming. You may not realize it yet, but you are no longer who you used to be. The person who feared darkness is gone. In their place stands someone who understands darkness. Someone who is no longer afraid of hard times. Because they have been through enough to know they can survive them. What you build now will outlast struggle. What you carry now will outlive seasons. What you are becoming is bigger than anything you ever lost. The dark did not hide you, prepared you to take hits without breaking, prepared you to walk alone without losing spirit, prepared you to wait without losing hope, prepared you to rise without needing permission. Your strength is your inheritance. Your endurance is your gold. Your growth is your crown. The world will see your shine, but only God and your soul will know how deep its roots truly run. And when people ask how you built such strength, you will answer not with words, but with presence. Because strength built in the dark doesn't need to be explained, it is felt. There is a chapter in every warrior's life that no one else will ever read. A chapter written in sleepless nights, in unanswered prayers, in silent endurance, and invisible battles. No spotlight shines there. No applause echoes. No one says well done. And yet, this is the chapter that defines you. Not the victories people admire, but the struggles no one witnessed. Not the moments you stood tall, but the hours you had to crawl just to stay alive. You learned to rebuild yourself. Not because life gave you strength, but because weakness was no longer an option. You learned to swallow disappointments. Not because you were unbreakable, but because you refused to break permanently. You learned to stand alone, because you realized crowds celebrate winners, but only warriors survive the wilderness. And you, even in your lowest hour, were more warrior than you knew, because every time you whispered, "I can't do this anymore," something powerful inside you answered, "Yes, you can." One more step, and that one more step changed everything. Progress in darkness is slow, almost invisible, like roots beneath the ground, growing silently for seasons, before rising into something unshakable. People see the tree, but they never see the roots. They see the height, but never the depth. They feel the shade, but never the storms that shaped it. You are that tree. You grew through harsh winters, cold winds, moments that almost tore you apart. But every storm strengthened your trunk. Every setback deepened your foundation. Every loss forced you to anchor deeper into yourself. Growth is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet, heavy, lonely, but always transformative. There were days where you carried pain like weight on your ribs, yet you still got up. There were nights where you spoke to God through broken words, yet you still believed. There were mornings where your reflection looked like ruin, yet your heart whispered rebuilding. Not everyone comes out of darkness stronger. Some break, some fold, some surrender to the night. But you came out different. Not untouched, not perfect, not unscarred. Nights you cried, they watered your future. Those struggles you faced alone, they taught you independence. Those prayers that felt unanswered, they were building patience inside you like stone. One day, not far from now, you will step into a season of clarity. A season where you finally see why things happen the way they did. A season where the darkness behind you makes sense, because it guided you here to a life bigger than your past. You will love again, laugh again, hope again. And this time it will feel different, because you are different. You'll walk with a quieter confidence, the kind that doesn't need to prove anything. You'll speak with a strength that comes from surviving storms. You'll shine not because life became easier, but because you learned how to glow in the dark. Your story is not over. Your future is still unfolding. And everything you built in silence will one day roar in the light. You are becoming someone powerful, someone grounded, someone who no longer fears the night. Because you know the night is where you were reborn. You've walked through darkness with no guarantee of dawn. And still, you moved. That alone makes you extraordinary. Most wait for strength to begin. You built strength by beginning. You stood up when your heart was tired, held faith when answers were silent, and turned pain into power. There will come a moment soon, when everything you carried quietly will rise loudly within you, not as struggle but as wisdom, not as wounds but as wings. You are not who you were. You are stronger, sharper, deeper, ready. The world has not yet seen your full light, but it will. Just keep going. There is a power in you now that wasn't there before. A strength carved from nights of doubt. A resilience shaped by storms you didn't choose, but survived anyway. You've learned how to hold yourself together when everything around you was falling apart. You've learned how to breathe through pain, how to walk through fire without losing your soul. That is growth not everyone earns. And soon, your past will no longer hurt to remember. It will inspire you. You will look back not with sadness, but with recognition. That was the moment I became unbreakable. Every scar is a page of wisdom. Every tear is proof you kept living. Every setback was a step forward in disguise. Life didn't weaken you. It refined you. You are rising quietly, but soon, the world will hear you. You didn't just survive. You evolved. You learned how to stand with courage. Even when your heart trembled, you discovered that strength is not loud. It is calm, steady, patient. Every day you pushed forward was a day you rewrote your destiny. And though the world did not see your effort, it exists within you like fire beneath skin, quiet but unstoppable. The future you're walking toward is built from everything you endured. Your struggle was the foundation. Your persistence was the bricks. Your faith was the roof. You are becoming a fortress. Every challenge you faced was a lesson disguised as pain. Every moment you wanted to quit was an invitation to grow stronger. The darkness you walked through was not your enemy. It was your mentor. You learned to move without applause, to fight without recognition, to hope when hope felt impossible. That is power. That is wealth. That is the strength no one can take from you. Now, the world may try to measure you by what it can see, but your real greatness was built in the unseen hours. The nights when you whispered to yourself, "Keep going." Those nights made you unshakable. Those nights made you unstoppable. You are no longer just surviving. You are rising.